Welcome back, guys, to another...
Gentlemen, a short view back to the past.
And welcome back to another part of our F1 24 career mode. This is part number 12 today for the British Grand Prix in our rookie debut season in Formula 1. But if you guys did miss the previous episode at the Austrian Grand Prix, then be sure to go check that one out. Before you see this one, double the action with the sprint and the Grand Prix. And that was our first race after the new 1.3 patch had come in. And we certainly got some more improved racing from the AI, especially in the sprint. It was incredible stuff. AI mistakes coming into play and last lap drama all the way to the end to secure victory in the sprint. Sadly, the same couldn't be said for the full Grand Prix. It was going so well, though. We didn't have an issue with wet weather being there. Everyone changed onto the right tyres. We had some good pace, and then the engine decided to go up in smokes, of course, when it was, we're on for a 1-2 for McLaren, so of course it went at literally the worst time possible for the team and for myself, but it was our very first engine failure of the entire series, so it had to come at some point, I guess, and for Lando, it was another great day in the office. It was win number 4 this season to match number 4 on his car, and he is trying his best to chase down Max Verstappen, and I would have been a massive aid to him, taking points off Verstappen being up there in second place if it wasn't for that engine failure, but we're trying, you know, for the good for him, for his championship chase, but also for the team, for McLaren in the constructors. But now we come to the British Grand Prix, the home race, and for this one we had to pull out a special livery. This is what our car is going to look like for the upcoming British Grand Prix. I'm going to call it the Monster McLaren Quadrant livery, as we have got Quadrant and Monster Energy as the main forefront sponsors. Quadrant colours, the fluoro green and yellow, now dons the entire McLaren. We've got Quadrant logos dotted about and even the team's specific sponsors on the car, and then Monster Energy takes up the main mantle on the engine cover. A special livery for a special home race for both myself and Lando as teammates here in McLaren and Quadrant as well. Now, before we get to the race weekend action, just a few bits of admin to go through, including a little bump of 320 R&D points for that failure. I should like to think so, okay? 320 points doesn't even feel like enough to comfort me after the devastation I had of having that failure at such a crucial point where I had just got into second with that gamble, and it was looking pretty plain sailing from there. So yeah, frustrating times. The overall rating of our driver also went down, remember, at the end of the episode. If you didn't watch all the way to the end of the video, I mentioned that there is a current glitch with pace. It used to be glitched where it would always give you a positive attribute, but now it's constantly going down after every race. So I said it, until that gets patched, I hope as soon as possible, we might have an unfortunate situation where our pace is continuously taking a knock, basically, and it's very hard to try and grow our rating. But it's equally going to be pretty tough to grow our rating with engine failures, with penalties potentially. We are not going to have a penalty for our home race because we do have one column of the ICE left, which was the component that failed in our engine. But I will have to take a penalty very shortly after, maybe in the next episode or the one after that. We'll kind of strategically think about that potentially going into those rounds. But now we look inwards to the upgrades for this team, and we're going to go ahead and purchase our first ERS upgrade, because although things did seem better in Austria, I still feel like the AI are a bit too overpowered when it comes to how easily they can deploy so much battery and not suffer with harvesting or, you know, straight line speed, basically. So I want to try and negate that for myself by going with ERS upgrades until I'm hoping a patch will come in to maybe level the playing field a little bit, because it's been pretty apparent that that's kind of mostly where I'm losing most of my time in a race to Lando in the same piece of machinery, because in qualifying, we're right up there, we're matching him, and so it's a very weird reverse way of previous F1 games where I seem to have less race pace than my qualifying pace, and I've never been a qualifier, but on this game I am, because there's that disconnect of ERS deployment and modes, I feel, going into the race. But it's now time to head to Silverstone, and hey, that livery, mate, that livery, what do you make of it, huh? What do you make of it? Good stuff, right? Very good stuff. Okay. Moving on, R&D going into this race weekend. Red Bull make a small marginal gain to go top again on the R&D chart, but it's very fine between ourselves and Red Bull, and very close between the chasing pack of Ferrari, Aston and Merc, to the point where I really think this clump of 5 teams is all together, really. And Visa Cash App RB making a huge strides from the previous episode. They've really set themselves apart from now the bottom pack, which also includes Kick Sauber after that little, nerf following the patch that has come in. But it's time now to go to qualifying for Silverstone.
Welcome along, everybody, to a venue that was built for speed. Once an airfield, now one of the finest racetracks in the world. It's qualifying day here at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix.
So the sun is surprisingly shining here on Silverstone, and we are ready. Look at that. That is a gorgeous little number for the McLaren for this race. It's such a striking change, obviously, from the orange, and as a one-off, it's pretty damn cool to have the McLaren car in Quadrant colours for this race only, as we start our first flying lap. And along with Spa, this year Silverstone has been redone. If you've watched the preview content, you would have seen, it's been, now referenced with scans, etc. So there are parts of the circuit that feel a lot wider now than they once used to. There's like elevation changes, new bumps to take care of, and so it does feel like a very different sort of Silverstone circuit, with some corners now a little bit more flat out than they were before, but that's also due to the handling, and some other corners maybe tightening up a little bit more than they were before as we go through the final corner. And it's a pretty damn solid start to the entire weekend. A 1-2 in Q1. That is laid down a marker, but I'm really hoping that's not a marker like an Imola we fail to match, because I always like building up through quali, rather than now we have pressure of, oh, are we legit going to be the fastest team around here? Or should we be aiming for pole position? Should we be aiming for the front row? Because now that's when, the pressure can start to make mistakes happen. You double think about every turn in, every brake zone, etc. So, yeah, sometimes not a great thing to be up there right at the start, but it is how it's gone. And the car is showing genuinely some good signs of pace as we cross the line. Not quite matching the speed we had in Q1, but only about a tenth, I think that is. But Lando does go quicker, and he tops this session. But we've got a Red Bull sandwich in the middle of both of us here. Both Aston through, both Ferraris. Only one Mercedes, and it's Lewis Hamilton. And then Pierre Gasly, of all people, the Alpine, has got into the top 10. And Alpine, they're still very much at the bottom end of the R&D spectrum. So I don't know how on earth Gasly's pulled that out the bag. I mean, Ocon was even quite high in the people knocked out in Q2. So that's a bit of a surprise. Let's see how this one goes. Will there be any surprises in this final part of qualifying? We're trying to carry a lot of speed and go aggressive in Sector 2. Maggins Beckett's, let's see if it's paid off. Across the line. Oh, it is close. 0.059 off Verstappen. He's on provisional pole as we now start our second and last flying lap. Lando pops up a better time, but only goes P3, and if that is fully his last time, then it is up to me to maybe now dethrone Verstappen. And the pace from Q1 and Q2 then does seem genuine, though. We've not been massively pushed down the order with other people going quicker. We're still there in P2 with our original time, and now we've gone purple in the first sector, purple in the middle sector. We're nearly 3/10 up. The checkered flag is flown, and everyone has set their times, barring me. This could be it in the Quadrant colours of my... Oh, no! Oh, bowled it. Did I tap the grass? No, I didn't even tap the grass, I don't think, really. It was more of just a rear lock situation. Oh, I can't believe it. That's actually the biggest bottle in the known universe. That is... Oh, my God. That could have been it. Well, that was it, sorry. That actually was it. That was pole position. That would have been pole in the monster McLaren Quadrant car. But it's only second place. Look at that. We finished 0.061, separating the top three is a madness. But I'm kicking myself for what could have been. And I'm raring to go. Let's just get into the race and make up for what should have been pole position.
Welcome everyone as you join us at a former Second World War aircraft base, now converted into one of the great motor racing tracks. Britain is one of only 2 countries to have held a Grand Prix in every year of the Formula One World Championship, and long may that continue. This is Silverstone, and this is the British Grand Prix. The 3.6-mile long Silverstone circuit is one of the longest of the season, with 18 corners in the current layout. With average lap speeds reaching around 145 miles per hour, it's also one of the quickest tracks of the year. Watch out for cars taking the right-handers of Abbey and of Copse flat out. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position and a McLaren alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Hamilton, Perez, Fernando Alonso, Leclerc, Gasly, Stroll, Russell, Tsunoda, Ocon, Albon, Hulkenberg, Magnussen, Bottas, Joe, Ricciardo, Sainz, and Logan Sargent. And now it's time to head down to the track. And alongside me, a man, well, what more can I say? But he's a legend, Anthony Davidson. Now, sadly, things didn't work out for them last time. It was a bad race. Question is, though, can they recover today?
Yes, they can, Crofty. You've got to put it behind you. Whatever happened last time, I was always told as a driver, park it, forget about it. Obviously, feel the pain when it happens, but then you can't dwell on it and carry that through to the next race. So put it behind you and just crack on with this race coming your way now.
Right, here we go. We know we have the car today. We're here in second and third. It really should be at least first and third if it wasn't for that mistake from us in our final qualifying lap. But the promising signs are there that this could be a very good day in the office for this entire team. A good day in the office for British drivers, as Hamilton has outperformed that Merc a bit, for the first time this season, really, because it's been all Russell so far. But Hamilton up there in P4 as well. There's something about a home race that just energizes you, doesn't it? As we line up on the front row, the Red Bull to our left, Lando behind, and we get ready to go to 5 red lights for the British Grand Prix here at Silverstone. It's lights out and away we go. And Verstappen's had a shocking getaway. We've had a good one, but it's an even better one for Lando Norris into turn 1.
Lando Norris leads the British Grand Prix. You can hear the roars as Lando Norris leads.
For the team, this is literally the perfect start. It's a 1-2 in the one-off livery as well, which just adds to this at the moment. But immediately Verstappen is going to be on the back of this. He's going to be fuming from P1 down to P3 as we're staying with medium ERS for now, just wanting to save battery for later on, knowing how important it is going to be on the back straight. But let's look at a replay then of this incredible getaway and shocking one for the Red Bull. The Red Bull driver just didn't even get off the line. Verstappen, he may as well have stalled the car. And Lando, an electric getaway, not only overtakes Verstappen, but overtakes me as well. I was deploying battery all the way to pretty much the brake zone at turn 1, where I decided to ease off because I didn't want to risk any sort of funny business and contact with Lando at the apex, but he just completely outdid me despite me deploying all the way through. Very surprised, but that's what he's been doing this season, surprising us and just pulling performance out the bag of the McLaren where I just can't. But it's 1-2 right now on lap 2. Verstappen still third, Hamilton remains in 4th place, Fernando Alonso P5. We've got a load of world champions all lined up behind us, looking to overtake us, and it is struggle town early on. We just don't have enough straight line speed. We're being swallowed up by Hamilton and Verstappen either side of us. Even Alonso gets in the middle of it. He's there on our inside. We have to leave him some room, but I'm trying to squeeze him because I don't want a third car to fight. But we've been done. We've been double overtaken, and we're down to P4 now. Meanwhile, Lando setting a fast lap of the Grand Prix. It was a struggle there completely. I was defenseless really to try and stop those two overtaking us, and now we have to try and reconvene and stick with them at least. But meanwhile, Lando leading the way by well, it will be nearly 3 seconds eventually, as Hamilton goes from left to right on the inside of Verstappen. This is an epic duel and a bit of a throwback here. Mercedes v Red Bull, Hamilton v Verstappen, and Verstappen just gets ahead. Hamilton using all the width of the circuit, trying to get past the Dutchman. This is actually, to be fair, quite an exciting fight just to sit back and watch with a bucket of popcorn in the cockpit at the moment. But you can see I'm really struggling with battery. I mean, look at that. I've basically used all my allocation of harvesting, and yet I've only got 20%, and that's because I've had to overuse the battery just to try and stay ahead of Verstappen and Hamilton. They overtook me anyway, so it is a bit of a struggle town at the moment. Gladly, the only thing that's not a struggle now is the tyres and engine. They're now completely fine after the pack, so it's now just the ERS that is the issue, as we see Hamilton and Verstappen going at it once again, and the two are going to make contact. A little bit of debris kicked up as Verstappen is now slow, and he leaves the door open, and we are going to slam through and shut it on the other way as we go up into third place. And for now, early days in this Grand Prix, but we complete the trifecta of an all-British top 3 podium, but we've got a long way to go, and we're looking now to maybe even overtake Hamilton if I can help it. That would be good. So after feeling a bit slow initially, having been done by both of these guys, we're now looking maybe a little bit quicker. You know, when we're in the middle of the pack, we can do some work because we've got DRS to try and attack the car ahead. Without DRS, you are a bit of a sitting duck as Hamilton tries to squeeze us. We're on the inside, but we were a bit cautious on the brakes there, I can't lie, looking back at that move, and I tried to dance the car around the outside of Lewis, but I actually just get embarrassed there because I just didn't have the front end grip to actually make that move work. We had to go a lot tighter to the apex line to make that work, so it's all a bit of a learning curve at the moment with this new Silverstone circuit. You know, slight geometry change, and it does make a difference to previous games of what kind of moves you can make or where you should be placing the car to make the same sort of moves I had done on previous iterations of the F1 game. But we remain in third place at least. We didn't lose a position, but Max is certainly trying his best to make that a reality as the Red Bull is through to the inside. We're going to try and defend, but Max uses Hamilton there as a real good way just to follow him through. We were kind of getting boxed in if we went any later on the brakes, and so it's Lewis and Max once again ahead of us. It's a lock-up. It's a lock-up for Russell, and Tsunoda is up into P9 in the Visa Cash App RB. Russell struggling this race, it must be said, compared to Hamilton for once in this series. And this game, it must be said, down in P10 as we go for the dive on Verstappen at Village. We're going to catch him napping a little bit. Verstappen comes back at us though. He's there on the inside. We're wheel to wheel. It is so close between us on the left-hand side. We cut through for this switch from right to left. Again, narrowly missing contact with the Dutchman. Loving this camera angle at Silverstone now. Very realistic to the TV is... Oh, look at that squeeze! Verstappen keeps his foot in. Incredible. I actually fully expect him to back out of that, but he kept his foot in the entire time. And that is at least one thing. When you do fight AI and they do go wheel to wheel with you, they're not afraid to keep their foot in. Because look at that. Verstappen was completely 4 wheels off circuit on the exit of Cops, and he still kept going. Previous games, they would have just fully backed out of it, but I am massively impressed, and that's why I'm so hopeful that if we can make further AI tweaks just to get them as racy as they were on the last game, added in with the new intelligence and aggression levels they're showing on this game, I think we could be well on the way to actually topping the amount of action and fun we were having on the last game with those AI as we remain in third place. But the theme is going to be fighting Verstappen this episode. If we weren't trying to help out Lando in previous episodes, we absolutely are right now trying to take points away from Verstappen whilst Lando just dominates this entire Grand Prix. No one's seen him. I've hardly seen him on the replay cameras as we close up to Verstappen again to the inside of Kops. Oh, it's going to be close. And again, he's off circuit, but he doesn't back out of it. This is brilliant. And Alonso now, Perez, sorry, is getting close and getting involved maybe. Perez now has a little go and actually had a bit of a snap at Verstappen's rear wing. Alonso is there as well, by the way. He was there previously, but it's Perez at the moment, the one right behind us. But we continue to defend up until the end of lap 10, and I call it. It's time to come in. I feel like my tyres are a bit worn, and I feel like I could benefit from an undercut to get us away from this pack, which you can see on the mini-map is a huge pack, and then try and close up towards Hamilton. But yeah, Lando here just loving life, 7.1 seconds ahead of Hamilton. He's just cruising now. He is literally... Oh, there's an issue. No! Rear left. I think that was rear left tyre. 5.6 second pit stop. That's abysmal for the modern era of Formula 1. I mean, it's not as abysmal, though, as I can see for the first time. I've only just noticed this. Sainz down in P19. What happened to him? Did he just qualify badly again or something like that? Wow, ever since that engine failure for Sainz in Austria, it's not really been a great time. He had a horrible time in the full Grand Prix at the Red Bull Ring, and now he's here, way down the order, as we actually somehow managed to stay ahead of Verstappen despite the pit stop issue. We come out behind Gasly, though. We have to make a very important overtake on the Frenchman to not lose time and then immediately get our head down to chase after Leclerc. So we have been jumped by Gasly and Leclerc there momentarily for Gasly, but we still managed to stay ahead of Verstappen. So I reckon either Verstappen had a pit stop issue himself, or him and Perez fought way too much and they lost time to the likes of Leclerc and Gasly. Maybe also just it was the pit lane chaos, maybe with so many cars coming in at the same time, which is another reason to come in earlier, just to kind of get away from that madness. But we are now on the back of Leclerc, looking to make this pass, basically just trying to get a car in between ourselves and Verstappen again. But also Leclerc, well, could be a car we need to race for the last place on the podium as we go down the inside. The Ferrari, though, does really well in the braking. We try and squeeze out Leclerc, but even he doesn't budge. This time we do very nicely keep it round the outside for a nice little side-by-side moment at Luffield. I'm sure at this moment in time, the crowd going berserk for this much action in front of their eyes, in front of the grandstands, as we get the overtake up into, well, what is P8 on the road, but it will be third place overall in this race once others have finally made their pit stop. But yeah, I think Leclerc is actually going to become part of this fight, you know. The Ferrari has just surprisingly joined the party for the last podium spot as he just flies by and we've not got much to defend with. Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough. They really fly by. I mean, equally, we fly by, back past them, you know, when we get DRS on them. But you can kind of... This is why these trains are occurring. If this is happening with me, this is actually happening AI on AI, basically. This swapping left and right, as, again, we look to swap ourselves back ahead of Leclerc. This time, though, a bit of an unorthodox place on the exit of Kops there, with just a good exit, good line, a little bit of battery use, but into Mag, into Beckett, so we get the overtake. But I actually should have maybe thought about sticking behind him on purpose, because now we're the sitting duck, and despite using overtake mode for most of the straight, the Ferrari breezes past. The Red Bull has a little look, but we do, under braking, get back through for P3. But how many times can we afford to do this and actually keep this up as... Oh, did you see that ahead, though? Hamilton locked up. He was 4 seconds ahead of us. He's now 2.7, which might, well, you would think give us some motivation to try and push on, but it's difficult. It's difficult to catch cars still. And Austria was a real big red herring, it would seem, for that issue. Perez. Can't say I'm disappointed. He is our championship rival in the in-game rivalry section, so that's good news for us with the DNF for Checo Perez, but his race goes from bad to worse as he was already being pushed down the order a little bit since the first stint. And was that Pierre Gasly having a go at Verstappen? What is going on? I was very impressed by Gasly's qualifying anyway, but the Alpine having a little sniff at a Red Bull, that's unbelievable as Russell makes an overtake to repass Tsunoda, having obviously given up that position earlier on in the race. But yeah, meanwhile for us, the gap grows back to 3 seconds to Hamilton, and ahead, well, it's nearly a 10.5 second gap for Lando Norris, who has not had to do any sort of actual racing since, well, after turn 1, lap 1. It's been an incredible performance from him. Meanwhile, 3 laps later for us, we're still giving the crowd at Lufil something to ooh and ah at, as we're on the outside of Leclerc again, very close to the Ferrari side pod, using a bit of battery to pull ahead. Leclerc still on the inside though, as we're going to have to watch it as we go into the next right-hand look behind us. And, Verstappen's actually got a good line through there. That might just be him up into P4 then. I was hoping that he would be fighting Leclerc so much that we could pull away, but no, he then sets his sights on me. Verstappen up our chuff into Cops. Oh, Leclerc! What? Where has he come from? Contact! Big contact on the exit there, just like with Verstappen and Hamilton. There was a bit of dust and carbon fibre being kicked up from that bit of contact, and Leclerc has gone from trying to overtake a car to being overtaken. Is Verstappen, speaking of, tries to overtake us on the last lap. No, this is not happening, not like this. We get the elbow out to defend this third place. You know, the race was already gone by lap 1, turn 1, but if I lose this home Grand Prix podium like this on the last lap, I will never live it down. Right now though, it's an all-British podium, and it's topped by this man, Lando Norris, our teammate, driving a quadrant coloured McLaren special one-off livery. How fitting for a home Grand Prix victory. It is the win at Silverstone.
Let's go! Well done. Amazing result. I love you all so much. Thanks for the upgrades. You deserve it. Just keep pushing, guys. I love it.
And meanwhile, back to our POV, and we are just hanging on to third place. Verstappen with nearly less than 2/10 that was at one point right at the end of the straight, but we take it nice and easy, and we will come through to make it an all-British podium at the British Grand Prix. We've got to be happy about that. I'm a little bit disappointed we couldn't do a McLaren 1-2 in this special livery. It would have been so poetic, but I'll take an all-British podium, holding off Verstappen all race long. We fought really hard for that one.
Here we are then, a fantastic British Grand Prix, and what a performance it was from our race winners today.
And that's 2 wins in a row now. It's the start of potentially something special, but they can't get ahead of themselves just yet. It's a long way to go.
There is a long way to go, but with the consistency that Lando is showing at the moment, he is fully in this title fight now. I think Verstappen still leads the way, he does, but Lando is as close as he ever has been in this championship. He's now in the fight. He's now in the fight, and that means we are in a supporting role, basically, of a championship contender. Obviously, we'll try and just maximise our results still, as I always do. But that will be in the back of my mind of, you know, maybe helping out our teammate, because we're nowhere near a championship fight. We're nowhere near ready for a championship fight, obviously, but we need to help our team out for the constructors as well, of course, and you know, if we can help out Lando, then I will. Annoyingly, the pace goes down now after the previous patch glitch. That's a little bit frustrating because I think our performance warranted us staying 78 rated at least, but we go just under to 77 annoyingly. But still, anyway, I'm not going to let that spoil what a good day in the office it was. You know, it wasn't the 1-2 I wanted. It wasn't even the win that I actually thought we could have got after the pace we showed in qualifying. But a 1-3 all-British podium in the monster McLaren Quadrant livery. yeah, I can't actually ask for much more. That is actually a really, really awesome episode, and glad that the special livery curse has not come down upon us in the first time of asking on F1 24. Guys, if you have enjoyed this one, hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.